So, hey everybody, welcome to Steve Couper's podcast for aspiring real estate investors. In each episode, we connect with seasoned investors and industry subject matter experts who are eager to share their stories, tips, and tricks for how to succeed in investing in real estate. Now, before I go too far, I'd like to make sure that you click the like button. Make sure you hit that subscribe button if you haven't already, and feel free to share this with your friends if you think this is something that they'd enjoy. Please do so. So, on to the introduction. So, today I'm very honored to have as my guest, as you can see, the private lending queen. She is a coach, she is a host, she is an educator, and her goal is to empower people with the right mindset and educate them to build a wealth empire. Now, there's a lot more to it, but I'm going to turn it over to you, my dear. Welcome, Marinella Nicolosi, the private lending queen. I am honored to have you on my podcast. Please, before we go any further, did I get anything wrong? Is there anything you'd like to add to that? Tell us about yourself.
Sure. Well, thank you so much for having me here. I really appreciate it. And I love to be on podcasts. And I've done so many interviews. And yeah, you described me very well. Thank you
Okay.
for that. And the one thing that I would like to add is maybe that I was inspired by my parents. I grew up in a family in Italy where both my parents and even my grandparents were real estate investors. And my grandfather was actually a builder. There are buildings in Trapani, Italy, where actually were built by my grandfather. So, and in the historic center of the city. So, we have like a long history of business owners and investors. So I grew up in that environment. And when I started private lending, it felt like second nature to me because I grew up with parents who would take risks and always around business people, and that was the language that was very much talked in my house.
Yeah.
So yeah, and so because I was so inspired by them, I wanted to build my own career, and here I am now, and I want to inspire others. I want to inspire others because I was able to turn things around for me and my family, and so I want to tell people out there, don't be scared to get into real estate. There are so many opportunities, and take your time to learn and to understand which strategy works best for you. However, take the initiative because you can change your life and in matter of years, and do very well for yourself and for your future generations.
I love it. I love it. Hey, so before we go too far, I was surprised the other day to discover that not everybody knows what private lending is. So maybe we can have you give us a description of what you mean by private lending and how it applies to this industry, real estate investing.
Absolutely. So private lending is when you, as a lender, become the bank. So you fund projects, you use your own funds to fund any project that you have done due diligence on, and then the borrower will basically pay you in the form of a return on investment. And of course, the return on investment varies according to the risk of the investment that you're investing in. So there is a lot of due diligence that you have to do on the project and the borrower himself or self or wherever they are. And so it's a little bit of a process. However, if you learn how to do it properly, it can be really rewarding. And it can help you again to, generate an additional income for yourself, and maybe find also financial freedom and time freedom for yourself.
That's the goal. That is certainly the goal. So you've explained it in good detail. However, I think what when I was listening to you describe it, I was thinking to myself, there are so many aspects to this that you now need to follow up on. The loose threads that you dropped, the due diligence on the investor, on the project. There's different means of deploying your capital. Let's go into it a bit deeper and explain those topics.
Sure. So there is, different ways that you can approach private lending. However, if you want to do just private lending purely, like just lending your money and receive an ROI, which is a return on investment, you basically approach, or other investors will approach you, or borrowers. And so you will basically, you will need to ask for documentations in order to start doing your due diligence process. You need to ask, for example, for their income, or if they have additional, let's say if they have any business on the side, or you want to know what the credit history is, right? To understand if this person is worthy of your money, and if they pay their bills, right? What type of character this person has. Is it somebody who takes their business seriously and will take care of your money, or is somebody who is just there to grab whatever they can, right? So you got to make sure that they're honest, that they have integrity, and the money goes into the project and get the project done, so that then at the end of, when the project is finished, they can pay you back your money. So now when it comes to the project, you want to make sure that the borrower themselves have done due diligence on the market, the city they're investing in, the neighborhood, right? So they have to do a lot of market research on the project. They need to understand if the economy around that project itself, what's is that city growing? Is the neighborhood growing? There is is there like growth when it comes to job creation, or what about the infrastructure of the city? And what is the neighborhood like? Is there a busy neighborhood? Like, so there's so many different aspects that you need to consider when it comes to a project. So like we can't really talk about everything, but if you ever want to learn more on how to do due diligence, listen, go to my website, privatelendingqueen.com. I do teach how to do due diligence. I do have a course, the real estate investing due diligence course. And a lot of people have taken it. A lot of people are doing private lending and they're doing really well. So make sure to check out the website. And so the first step that I would do is to educate yourself. A lot of people think that it's just lending money and it's easy. It's not. So there's a lot of layers to it. So make sure that you educate yourself before you go out there. And to be honest with you, I also recommend to do due diligence not just on regular investors, but also on mortgage brokers, financial advisors who might bring you this type of investments, because I have had really bad experiences myself personally with mortgage brokers. And so now I actually have some, I'm dealing with the lawsuits because of their advice that was wrong. And so you would think the mortgage brokers would be, and I'm not saying they're all, bad, or they all make, bad decisions, but, do your due diligence. Don't just think that because they are mortgage brokers, they know everything. So do really thorough due diligence on every borrower that comes your way, and ask questions, ask a lot of questions. And by taking the course, just you know which questions to ask.
There you go. There you go. So, you call yourself the private lending queen. Are you the bridge between opportunity and private and people that want to private lend? Do you bring the two together? Do you find capital for other projects, or do you find opportunity for people that want to borrow? How does the title private lending queen suit this?
Started. Right. So then actually people started calling me the private lending queen. And so at that point I was like, okay, you know what? That is an easy name to actually remember. And so I decided to use that for my marketing, right? So what I do now, before I used to be just a regular private lender, investor who would invest in opportunities. And now I've decided to take more an active role, and I'm actually interested in partnering with other investors. And so right now I'm actually partnering with developers, land developers, collective developments, and PPM constructions. And we are working on a land entitlement project. And so I am the lead capital raiser, and I also take care of the investors' relations and marketing. And so, yes, if anyone wants to invest, feel free to contact me. Again, all you got to do is just go on my website, fill out the contact information, the contact form, and just send me an email through the contact form, or send me an email through info@privatelendingqueen.com, and happy to answer any of your questions and happy to connect.
Yeah, that sounds exciting. Actually, you told me about that project. I think it's going to be great. Hey, so let's assume that somebody's said, "Okay, I'm ready to invest," and they provide you with some funds, and they're invested in a project that you've brought them together with. What happens next? What happens after the money's in hand and the project's rolling? How does that ongoing relationship and communication work? What is your preferred strategy there?
Yeah, so basically, whenever you invest in a project, you have to make sure that the borrower will always establish a communication with the lenders. So whether it's me or any other borrower, make sure that you understand the risk you are getting into when you are lending that money. You understand the project, you understand the borrower, who they are and what they do, and what are their goals as well, right? And do they align with your goals? And then at that point, if you decide to invest, make sure that the borrower communicates with you on a regular basis, that they send maybe an email every month or every couple of weeks to give you updates on how the project is going, and so that you know exactly how things are evolving. And so if you don't receive any communication from the borrower, make sure that you ask, be proactive, don't just wait from the borrower. However, I think that the best policy for a borrower would be to proactively inform their lenders or their investors about the project, and give project updates and on a regular basis, because
So
it's
what's your
important.
idea of regular? How often or how
For
what's
me, it depends on how big the project is and how lengthy. So if it's, let's say, a 6-month project, and it's a quick, let's say, flip, then you can easily, give every week, tell people what's happening, right? Because things probably going faster. If it's, for example, a land development project of 5 years, you might gonna get like quarterly, updates, because it's a very long project. And usually, let's say on a land development project, things don't go that fast. So there is a lot of wait, and so you might get quarterly, you might get I don't know, every 6 months. I don't know. It really depends on the project itself. But at least, but you should get communication, like no matter whether it's every week or every month or quarterly basis or every year, you should get communication from your borrower and making sure that they tell you exactly what's going on. And if you don't hear from them, ask them. Don't just wait uh,
going
for them to tell you what's happening. And another thing I want to say is that if, let's say, something comes up and they have, they're getting into some issues, be and understand what's going on, right? And make sure that if that happens, that the communication doesn't stop, because that's when you need to worry. If the communication stops and the borrower stops communicating with you, that's not a very good sign. It's important for the borrower to communicate, even if there is problems, and how they're going to solve them, and what is it they're doing to solve those problems. Because I can tell you that every project has problems. It doesn't exist that there is no problems. There's always things that come up. So and I want to tell you this, because if you want to become private lender, you also need to work on your mindset, because you need to understand that you're going to be faced with also problems. And we've seen in the last few years that there have been lots of problems in our economy, and there's has caused problems also to borrowers who have gone bankrupt. So in order for you to do your due diligence, make sure that you continue to do that due diligence also after the project, when, because at that point, if things are not going well, you got to keep asking what is that the borrower is doing and how they're doing, and do they need help, right? Do they need help to find the right people who can help them? So be involved, and ask questions until you get your money back.
Love it. I love it. So Marinella, you got a few things that triggered in my mind. I guess um, as you're looking at deals and wanting to understand from a risk management perspective, the kind of due diligence we've talked about a lot of due diligence, but what do you consider as effective risk management strategies when you're loaning money to others?
Yeah, first of all, I think it's important to understand how much money are you willing to invest,
Yeah,
right? So what is your capacity to lose as well, right? Are you okay? So first you need to understand how much money do I have? How diversified I am if I invest this much money? Am I putting all my eggs in one basket? Or am I diversified enough that if I lose that money, I can still continue investing, right?
right.
And what is going to be my behavior if I lose that money, right? Am I going to be so sad and that I'm going to really become really stressed and anxious about it, or I'll be able to cope with it and trying to find solutions to move forward. So when it comes to risk mitigation, yeah, you have to look at how diversified you are with your funds. You also need to look at how diversified you are with the type of borrowers you are engaging with. And so let's say if you are investing through a mortgage broker, make sure this is what I've learned, to be honest with you, from my own mistake. Just invest in one project through a mortgage broker, then choose another investor who has no links to that broker, and then you choose a totally different one, and also choose, let's say, different risk labels, right? So that's also part of your risk mitigation. Maybe you find a project that is very high risk, and you might want to invest less money into that. But then there is, let's say, a first position mortgage that you really like to invest in, and maybe you can invest more money there,
Yeah,
right? So different risk labels, make sure you're very well diversified with your borrowers, that they're not connected or they're from different companies, so that you're kind of spreading your risk there. And also how much money you are investing in. If you have, let's say, $500,000, make sure it's well distributed into many different projects.
right.
And also, again, your mindset, remember to work on that, because you need to understand, okay, what is my capacity to lose? Like how, if I'm investing this money, am I going to be okay to lose that much money? Right? So those are things that you need to consider also within your risk mitigation strategy, because maybe a project will not go well and you will not get your money back. And so make sure that you can still move ahead and recoup that money that you lost with the rest of the funds that you already have.
Yeah, nice. Marinella, one of the courses I saw on your website is becoming a capital magnet. I
Yes,
love it's
thank you.
I think it's one of the challenges that as an investor you face is trying to figure out how to not we're not asking for money, we're attracting it by finding opportunities that people will want to invest in.
That's
How
right.
do you teach that, I guess, is my question to you.
Yeah, so I have a little bit of a different approach because I am a private lender, right? I am an investor. And so when I created that course, I wanted to make sure that the borrowers or of the people who are interested in taking the course would understand my perspective from the investor perspective, right? And so I want them to understand that if you want to attract people, you have to be transparent. You have to have high standards, and you have to also offer high quality and high value projects. And so be very picky in funding those projects, right? And also, I find that a lot of borrowers forget to think of establishing the reputation first. So make sure that you establish your reputation first. Make sure that people know you before you offer any project. Make sure that people understand who you are and what your values are, and how you operate. What are your business practices? And then when people feel comfortable with you, then you can reach out to them, because then they will trust you with their money. They will trust you that they can invest in you and your project.
There you go. Good advice. Very good advice.
Thank you.
Um, so Marinella, we're in I think you've touched on this a few times, but the market is going through quite a roller coaster ride.
Yeah.
And we've seen a lot of our friends and associates that have suffered through some of the downside. Um, how do um, how do you focus your investments? And as you're riding that wave, do you invest out of province? Do you stay close to home? Do you monitor the markets all across the country? Do you invest outside of the country? Tell me a bit more about your investing strategy.
Sure. So as far as I'm concerned, I'm more comfortable investing within Canada. I don't like to invest abroad and not necessarily just the US, just all over the world. I don't invest all over the world. I just invest within Canada because that's my comfort level. And
Yeah,
so you as an investor, that's what you need to understand. If you're comfortable investing in the US, go to the US or anywhere, like, right? However, if you do invest, make sure you understand their policies, their laws, because they're all different. They're all different. So make sure you know that. So because I invest within Canada, I follow the Canadian laws, right? And yes, I do invest across Canada, not just particularly here in British Columbia or Ontario. However, to me, it's important to understand the project and the people I am investing in, basically. So it doesn't really matter what it is. As long as it's within Canada, I want to make sure that it's a good project and that I feel comfortable investing in the project. And of
right.
course, I want to make sure that I'm well diversified, and yeah, so that's pretty much what I do. And now, as I have taken a more active role, and I'm partnering with other people, I do a lot of due diligence on the partners that I invest, basically in as well. So I have never partnered before with anybody. My nature is a little bit, I'm always a little diffident. I'm always careful because I know that, partnership should not be taken lightly.
Mhm.
You have to really, really understand the people you're going to work with. And if you have to get into a partnership, make sure that you do it, that you have put a really good thought into it and serious thought, because it's going to be for a long time. So make sure that, I do that. I think about it, and I do a lot of due diligence on the partners, so that I know that, I feel comfortable going in this ride with them, basically.
Yeah,
So that's what I do.
good advice. Very good advice. Marinella, one of the questions I like to ask everybody who is a guest on my podcast is to understand more about what it is that's motivating them. Can you tell us about your why? What is it that got you into this? What is it that propels you forward? What is it you're doing this for? How are you going to know when you've achieved everything you want to, or do you see a light at the end of the tunnel, or is it just a perpetual, I'm going to keep doing it as long as I can? Where are you going?
Yeah, so that's a great question. For me, it's about finding what works for me, basically. So I wanted to become financially independent. I wanted to find not only financial freedom, but also time freedom. And I wanted to be able to enjoy my children, my life, and but enjoy it now, not like when I'm dead, because when I'm dead, I won't be able to enjoy it anymore. And so, I mean, I've talked about this in other podcasts where I don't really believe in like a generational wealth. For me, it's about, yes, if I make money and I'm gonna die and I'll have a lot of money, I'll pass it on to my children. That's for sure. If I have properties, they will inherit all these properties, whatever it is. However, my focus when I got into this was to really enjoy my life now, to be able to travel, to be able to enjoy my children, to be able to provide for them, and have time for myself.
Mm.
I just wanted to be able to, you know, just take time to enjoy, like, going for a walk and going for coffee with a friend. Um, I like a simple life. I like simple. So for me, it's not about, you know, making a lot of money and become super rich. I just want enough to live simply and to enjoy my life, to be honest with you. So I'm not going after the riches. I'm just going enough to be satisfied with myself and have a good life. So yeah, it's a very simple, and I'm getting there,
Very good. I think here's to the simple life. We overcomplicate things. We aspire for all kinds of wonderful heights, but to what end? What is the purpose?
Well,
Good.
yeah, and one thing actually I want to add is that when you get into real estate, what I've noticed that a lot of people become actually very busy, very, very busy because they go after all these properties, and then you see them after, let's say, a few years, and they're all like stressed, and they've got gray hair. I mean, I've got gray hair too, but it's
I brought mine into the industry.
yeah. So this is why I'm saying, like, it's great. It's a great thing to do, like go into real estate, but also pace yourself. In the sense that, you have a whole lifetime to grow and your net worth, to grow your money, your financial freedom, to reach it. So, but enjoy also the people in your life.
Yes.
Don't just think about the money. And that's why, for me, it's not just about money. It's about finding that peace and also like enjoyment of life. Because if you don't enjoy now, whether it's your family and your money as well, like if you make money, enjoy it as well, spend it, right? Have a really nice dinner, have a nice trip, right? So enjoy it while you're making it. Don't just get stressed because you also have to take care of your health. And if have you seen, as you were talking about, yeah, we have seen a lot of people, lots of hard times, and like I said, including myself. Um, it's important to understand what is that you can control, because we there are so many things that we can't control that are happening at any point of time in time in our life. But if you focus on what you can control and how you can make your life better, whether it's working on your health, or whether it's working on your mindset, or whether it's working on your finances, and be able to balance all these aspects so that you can live a good life. I think that's, to me, it's you're reaching your goal, right? That to me, that's my goal. That's why I'm doing this, because I want to inspire others to find balance in life, to find time freedom and enjoy their life now while they're still alive, and be able to visit with their friends and support the children and make a difference also in society. I believe in making a difference in society as well. We all are part of this community, so let's be the best citizens we can be as well and inspire others in any way you want.
I love it. It's perfect.
Thank you.
Marinella, if people, you've mentioned it once or twice, but if somebody wants to find you, they
Yes.
listen to this podcast and they say, "Oh, I got to reach out to Marinella." How are they going to find you?
Yeah, so you can again can go on my website, privatelendingqueen.com. And there is a contact form. You can put your name and the message that you want to send me, and I will receive it and answer back to you. You can also send me an email at info@privatelendingqueen.com, and you can send me an email directly. I'm also on Facebook, so you can connect on Facebook. It's just search Marinella Nicolosi. I have a Facebook page, Private Lending Queen. I'm on Instagram, Private Lending Queen,
You're
as well as
everywhere.
my handle. Yeah, so I'm on also on LinkedIn.
Yeah.
Just search Marinella Nicolosi. So you can connect with me in any way you want, and I'll be happy to connect with you and learn more about you and your aspirations and what is that you want to turn your life into. And I would be happy to have a conversation and share more about my life and what I've done, and also my failures, right? And whatever is that, whatever lessons I can teach to others, I'm happy to open up and tell more about what I've done, whether it's good or whatever it is that I failed in.
It's a wonderful thing.
Thank
Marinella, thank you ever so much for joining me today. This has been a wonderful conversation. I look forward to seeing you again soon. Thank you very much. Any last words or any thoughts?
Enjoy life because it's short.
Let's do it. Bye now.
Bye now.